Welcome along, everyone. We are back after a 2-week absence for the Nitro National Series. We are back in the beautiful city of Madison, Illinois, for race number 4 of the 1-Up Nitro National Series schedule at the beautiful Gateway Motorsports Park. And alongside me, once again, as always, is Duke Ansack with us once again. And we've got a very interesting track layout here. It's unlike anything we go to much other than Darlington, and even then, you can't really draw comparisons to them. So I gotta ask you, how are you gonna attack this racetrack? Where would you put your focus? In the first two turns where it's a little narrower, or 3 and 4 where it's gonna be a little wider and a little faster, getting the momentum onto the long main straightaway?
Yeah, you ask where you put your focus on this track. It's got to be on the exit of the corners. You really, really want to have a good run down that straightaway so that you can gain enough time on whoever you're trying to pass to sneak low, and then just hope you can stay on the inside of them through the corner. It's really they don't look too flat, but the corners are pretty flat. At least they feel like they are when you're racing, and you just have to sneak low at people to pass them, and that's how it's going to be all day. So you want to have a fast exit every single time.
And with that being said, this track is very, very grippy. There's going to be room for 2 and possibly 3 wide racing throughout this entire track. There's going to be good drivers starting at the back, making their way up towards the front. And since there's only 40 laps here, you got to go from the moment the green flag goes out. There's not a lot of time to make your way to the front. You're going to see a winner come from the top 10. You're going to see someone make their way from the back to the front. What are you expecting to see here?
Well, it's really interesting looking at this lineup here because Alexa Luchon, our points leader, has not had a bad race this season, and she's starting in 18th. So I'm really feeling like Alexa Luchon is somebody you're going to today because they're just, absolutely, they're have not had a bad race this season. And then, of course, Nicky Martinez as well is starting 14th. So those are 2 drivers that have not had a bad race this season. I'm watching them to get up to the front. But really, of the drivers that are starting real close to the front, I'm looking at that 23 car. I think that this might be Jackson's day today.
You mentioned the starting lineup. We can give it to you in full. We have Brett Bishop taking his first career pole position in the 34 Maxwell House Ford. He lines up alongside your 3 car lined up on the second position outside front row. Francois Chastain gets his best career start in 3rd alongside Dylan Young, and Aaron Hall making his series debut, replacing Patrick Smith, who moved out to the Superstar Series. He takes over the number 7 Toyota, and he will start 5th alongside Jared Jackson, as you mentioned. Keith Hughes gets his best career start in 7th alongside Devin Fair in 8th. Ryan Caggiano and Sam Denota round out your top 10. And with that being said, as we always like to say here, the cars are lined up on the grid, we're ready to go racing, and we're ready to bring you the action as it's coming for us. This is the 1-Up Nitro National Series live from Gateway Motorsports Park. The green flag is next. Brett Bishop on the inside of the front row, Alex Forget-Barube on the high side, leading us to the green flag. The pace car is already off. The green flag is in the flagman's hand. It's out. We are underway here at Gateway, and Brett Bishop starting to get a bit of a jump on the 3 car, and he's bringing Francois Chastain with him. But look, you can see they're already fading out 3 wide. Forget makes a dive into turn 1, but he falls back a little bit. But look at Aaron Hall on the inside making it 3 wide for 2nd right off the bat. He's not afraid to stick it in there.
Yeah, this is lap run 1-8, race 1 for Aaron Hall, and already trying to make a move for 2nd place, and it looks like it might work. Oh, but there's a slide and some fluctuation there. But it looks like that 7 car is pretty stout so far in this race. Of course, we're only 1 lap in. Lots of time for things to change, but that 7 car is looking good. Of course, Brett Bishop is also looking pretty good because you can't see him way out in front.
There's Ryan Caggiano. He started back in 9th. He's already made his way up to 3rd. He's a good short track racer himself. Looks like we got a crash in the back straightaway. It looks like Zachary DeLello is involved in his first start with Team Dayspring. No. His day has gone from bad to worse. Kyle Corbett is involved. Curtis Stevenson making his series debut. He's involved in this wreck as well. You really got a feel for him. This was just his 2nd lap of competition, and he's already got some damage on his car. And you got a feel as well, as the caution flag comes out on lap number 2, you got a feel for Zachary DeLello. His team shut down in the off week. He got picked up by Team Dayspring. He was really looking forward to this race to cement himself with the new team, and just like that, his race has gone from average to quite bad in the span of 2 laps.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for all those drivers involved so early in the race. I'm curious about what happened, if it was a case of just racing too hard or if it was just too many cars and not enough room, as we see so often here. It's really unfortunate for all of those involved, though, for sure.
We'll get you a replay of what happened to Zachary DeLello, Curtis Stevenson, and Kyle Corbett as soon as it's available to us, of course. It's a tough break for Zachary DeLello because, as I said, as he and Kyle Corbett peel off into the pit lane to get some repair work done onto their machines, we'll get you a replay of what happened. It's just a shame for Zachary DeLello. He was so excited to make his first start with his new team. So this is Zachary DeLello. He was running in 18th, right where he started the day. Or actually, a few places up on where he started today. He started 25th.
Oh,
he got a bump.
see.
Dan Wilkins got a bump, and then he's just swerving to avoid it.
Oh.
Hits Kenneth Grant, gets into Alexa Luchon, and then it's just a stack up. And then Jose Guerrero just runs over Curtis Stevenson. That sends him into a spin. I didn't even notice Guerrero, but he completely plowed into the back of the 66. Guerrero's day is likely done after the contact to his front bumper that likely knocked a radiator off it or something. But as we saw, that's 4 cars involved in this wreck, and none of them are probably going to be in tip-top shape after this. Their days are probably gone down the tubes, even if they're going to stay on the racetrack. That's still a tough hole to get yourself out of.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, And those guys, I mean, I was actually watching a little bit ahead of them, and there was some contact up on the track as they were coming out of that corner there. I thought that's where the wreck was going to start, but I was totally wrong. They saved it up there and wrecked behind. So, it's a really... It looks like a wide racetrack, but the racing lane is so narrow, similar to Darlington, in the sense that there's not a lot of racing room, despite it being a really wide racetrack. But it just goes to show how intense these drivers are. They know it's a shorter race. They know that they've got to go. We've seen drivers come from 9th to 3rd in just one lap already. So it's time to go as soon as you start, and they just ended up crashing because of it.
So we've got about a lap and a half till we go back racing once again, and Brett Bishop continues to lead the way. He's led every lap from pole. Aaron Hall runs in 2nd. He started 5th. Brian Caggiano started 9th. He's up to 3rd. Francois Chastain runs 4th. He started 3rd. He's dropped back 1 place. Dylan Young has also dropped back 1 spot from his starting position to 4th. He runs 5th. Alex Foyget-Barup started 2nd. He's running in 6th right now. Keith Hughes started 7th. That's where he currently runs right now, in 7th. Jared Jackson lost 2 spots on the start. He currently runs 8th ahead of Eric Monaco, who actually gained 4 spots on the start. He's now up to 9th from his starting spot of 13th. And Mark Davey gained a spot in that opening exchange. He runs 10th in a number 38 Ford. That's a quick recap of your top 10, as the lights now are out on the pace car, so we will be going green this next time by.
Yeah, and just like we were saying before, there's a lot of shuffling that has gone on in only about 3 laps of racing here. So it's going to be an interesting race for sure. I'm curious about how these drivers will be able to catch up to one another once they are spread out. I don't know if what that dynamic will be like quite yet. We haven't had enough time to find that out. But this single file restart, other than the 66, of course, will be a lot calmer than the initial start, I believe, and hopefully they won't crash so soon this time.
With Stevenson being a moving roadblock, how will that affect the cars of Hall, Caggiano, Chastain, and Young back there and rounding out the top 5? How will it impact their efforts to get past Brett Bishop? Because Bishop should be able to get a jump on Stevenson pretty easily, but the rest of the field has to deal with him as a moving chicane for the rest of this race, and that will not be an easy feat to deal with as the pace car gets ready to pull off, and we're getting ready to restart this race on lap number 7.
Yeah, that 66 is going to play a factor here. For how many drivers, I do not know, but we're about to find out because they're about to go green again.
No, pace car is off, the green flag is in the starter's hand, and we are back underway at Gateway Motorsports Park on lap number 7. Bishop clears Stevenson, Hall clears Stevenson, Caggiano is clear, and it looks like they're all going to clear Curtis Stevenson pretty easily from about 5th up forward. I'm just curious to see who's going to get the advantage here, because Hall has had a very fast car. My question is, what does he have for the leader of Brett Bishop?
Yeah, we're about to find out here that for sure. It looks like he's running a little bit of a lower line right now, sneaking to the bottom. They're side by side right now.
Aaron Hall's making a statement in his series debut. This shouldn't come as a surprise to us, however. This 7 car has had a lot of speed in the first 3 races with Patrick Smith behind the wheel. He led 4 laps combined in those races. He finished strong at Pensacola, had a pretty decent day at Atlanta, led 2 laps there, finished 3rd. And at Bristol, he was up front a lot before an accident interfered in his day. But right now, Aaron Hall's making that 7 look like a rocket ship. And he's powering around Brett Bishop on the inside to take the lead of this thing. Put Aaron Hall in the number 7 out in front of this race as we complete lap number 8.
Yeah, not quite clear yet, but I expect him to be clear going into this corner. And here comes Caggiano, too, coming to the bottom of the track. That outside lane is not somewhere that you want to be at this point in the race. It looks like they're just going to barely work it out to go single file again. Boy, oh boy, that's an empty feeling out there when you're on the outside, similar to Martinsville, where you just get on the outside lane and the bottom comes rolling by.
That is true. And now Aaron Hall, now that he's clear of Brett Bishop, has started to pull a big gap on him already after barely even a lap out ahead, and we're already about a quarter way through this race. It just goes to show that you really need to be up on the loud pedal as much as you can for this race, because it's a very short affair here at Gateway, only 40 laps, and they go by pretty quick. So you're going to want to be able to navigate traffic well. You're going to want to be able to have a good car and clean air, and I think you're going to need a car that can beat that 7, because right now he's just pulling away to a very big lead over Bishop and Caggiano as we watch Young and Forget Barube side by side for 4.
Yeah, Caggiano's actually he's trying to make a move for 2nd right now. It looks like he was working on that 34th rear bumper down the straightaway, though. He was pushing him all the way down. I'm thinking that 30 car is looking stout right now. He is quick.
That 34 is
making... the 81.
Yeah. The 81 is making a move for 2nd, and it looks like he'll be able to make it stick on Brett Bishop. Bishop will fall back to 3rd and into the clutches of his Ford compatriot Dylan Young in that battle for 3rd, but Caggiano is clear. But now Aaron Hall has stretched his lead out to a full 2nd over these guys. They need to stop fighting with each other right now, and they need to start going after Aaron Hall, or else this race is going to be a one-sided affair quickly here at Gateway Motorsports Park.
Yeah, maybe you'd be able to catch that 7 car if he wasn't carrying all the weight of those extra numbers that I didn't realize he had it on that car. But it looks like that 34 car, after the heat cycle on the tires or something, has not been doing as well as it was. I mean, he was out front by about this amount when the caution came out, and now the 34 can't hold anybody off anymore as soon as that 7 got out ahead. So it's going to be interesting to see if Caggiano can catch the 7 car. We know that Caggiano is fast. It's just going to depend on how much time is left and if there's enough of it, and if the 7 makes any mistakes. This is the first race for Hall, so anything could happen, really.
Yes, Aaron Hall making a series debut, but driving like a veteran. He's already led for about 6 laps here today, and he looks to continue that streak, leading more. An average speed of 92.92 miles per hour. He's putting on a clinic here as Caggiano trails him about 1.1 seconds off the lead. Dylan Young is pulled into 3rd, ahead of the 3 car in 4th. Brett Bishop's faded back to 5th. Chastain, Hughes, Ironhouse has moved his way up into the top 10. That's a good run from him. Sam Donato in 9th. Jared Jackson falls back to the 10th position. That's your rundown of the top 10 right now. But up front, it is still Aaron Hall with a commanding lead. But right now, the battle is for 3rd between Young and Forget Barube right behind him.
You're right, and this racing has calmed down just a little bit, which is good for the moment. You don't want to have extreme racing like we saw at Atlanta, because they will crash eventually, like we saw early in this race already. Oh, Donato squeezes it in there. Boy, oh boy, that was a move in the middle of the corner. It doesn't look like He's going to get a great exit, but he's going to have the track position to try to finish that move. Either way, though, these drivers have calmed down a little bit. They're going to start setting lap times, and we're going to really see who is good where on this racetrack coming up soon, because everybody's kind of on their own at this point, just trying to put down lap times.
Here's the battle for ninth between Elijah Ironhouse and Jared Jackson, with Devin Fair right behind them. Fair needs to dig himself out of the points gutter. He's had a dreadful start to the season with a 25-point penalty at Pensacola adding to his woes. Able to grow, running right behind them in 12th. A good run from the rookie in the number 5 car. He's running right behind Devin Fair. Matthew Polanski making his series debut. Younger brother of Jared Polanski, one of the Superstar Series regulars, is doing a very good job. He started 26th in this race, and he's already up to 13th. He's gained half the spots he needed to make up. He's doing a very good job out there, doing the Kings Motorsports team proud, because this 18 car is going full-time the rest of the year with him driving most of the way. But Matthew Polanski doing a pretty good job, staying ahead of Giovanni Pena and Peter Onjak in the battle for 13.
Yeah, and that's some nice paint on that car too. It's nice and simple there. It's really interesting to see the Polanski brothers both having solid runs in this series so far this year. Great for that whole family. They're having some good runs. Here's a move from the 70 car going into the corner. Not sure if that's going to work out. Maybe. They're going to be side by side coming off of the corner, it looks like. So this is a battle right here as we move back through the field.
See Eric Monaco running in 17th. He was in the top 10 earlier today. Nicky Martinez having a decent run in 18th, ahead of Logan Williams, and Dan Wilkins having the best run of his career in 20th. 21st right now is a battle between Felix Anderson in the 87 and Kenneth Grant, the Pensacola winner, in the 55. They're battling for the 21st position on track. Anderson had a good day at Bristol last time we were out. He had a top 10 run there. Christian Russell right behind them. Mark Davey having a solid run in his second career start. Alexa Luchon not running where we expected her to run, back in 23rd.
No, not at all.
Back in the 25th position now. This is her first real dud of the season so far. She's had such a good run so far this season, including a win at Bristol last time out. But this is not where we expected her to be running at all.
No, absolutely not. That starting position of 18th, we expected her to go towards the front, and that has not happened at all so far.
David Dixon in the 28th position, making his series debut in the Salt Speed number 88. First entry for that car as well. With only 42 cars entered, they were guaranteed in. He's fending off Jerry Cook right now. That's the battle for 28th. Ahead of Chris Lattimore and Zach Rogers, who we expected to have a lot better of a season than he's currently had. He's running 31st, battling for 30th with Chris Lattimore. Santiago Alvarez is back here. Bill Keppery's back here as well. He's voicing his concerns about his season. AJ Jones in another Salt Speed car making his series debut, running in the 34th position, ahead of Kyle Corbett, who had some on-track damage from earlier in the race. He's running in 36th, ahead of John McFadden and Kason Cooper in their battle for 36th position. TJ Murray, 38th, I should say. Sam Joseph and Zachary DeLello, who's yet to fully grasp the handling of his 0-3. His damage has impacted the handling of that machine, and he is now well off the pace of his fellow competitors, just now crossing the start-finish line. Curtis Stevenson a lap down, and that is your run through the field as Aaron Hall continues to lead the way after 22 laps have been completed. He's got about a half-second lead, now three-quarters of a second, the gap between he and Ryan Caggiano.
Yeah, so since we last checked on this battle, the lead has closed a little bit. But I don't know if that's because the 7 is starting to fall off, maybe it was a short run car, or if it's because Aaron Hall knows that he needs to save his stuff for the end. He's just managing the gap. Maybe it could be one of those two things. Either way, Caggiano is bringing, it looks like Alex is back there, in fact. So Caggiano and that 3 car both moving up through the field. Oh, they're side by side for third, in fact.
Checking in on the fastest lap of the race. Elijah Ironhouse, your other car, currently holds that with a 33.67. That's a good lap out of the number 8 Chevrolet, and he currently has a bonus point in his pocket for fastest lap. We'll see if that changes further on into this race. I'm sure he'll have to fight for it. Well, right now, he's running in ninth position, about 4.7 seconds behind your leader, Aaron Hall, who's dominated this race since the restart. And as he enters lap 25 now, he's got about a 0.7 of a second lead over Ryan Caggiano. This is one of the best short track racers we have in the Nitro National Series, and Hall is making it look easy, even compared to Caggiano, of all people.
Yeah, this track is interesting because it does race like a short track, except it feels a lot longer when you're out there. It's a longer track that races like a short track, almost like a Phoenix or a Loudon, New Hampshire type of track here at Gateway. But here comes the leader catching up to some lap traffic. Is that gonna
That's
right
Stevenson,
the way that 66 is?
That's Stevenson in the 66. He's gonna fall a second lap down here to Aaron Hall, and I'm curious to see if that will allow Caggiano and the 3 and the 92. It's going to allow them to close back in. Will Stevenson stay out of the way? It looks like he's going to stay to the high side for the time being and let Caggiano through. I'm just curious to see what the gap will be once they get back to the stripe. It was 0.8 of a second. It is now 0.7 of a second, so it was a net gain for Caggiano of about a full 1/10 of a second. He needs more of that over the next 14 laps if he wants to be in contention for this race win.
Yeah, so we're entering the long run here of this race, and it's just going to be interesting to see if this 81 car or the 3 car are able to start to pick up time in the long run, and that's really just relative time, because if the 7 car is out there using up his stuff, running the fastest laps he can, eventually that car's pace is going to be slower than those 2 cars behind. So that if that's the case with the 7 car, which I've seen no signs of him slowing down, but if that is the case, then we'll see those 2 cars right on his bumper before long.
Caggiano gained another 1/10 of a second that last lap. It's now a 6/10 gap. And they're coming up to lap Zachary DeLello as well. Will DeLello be as good of a lap car as Stevenson and stay out of the way, or will he pose more of a challenge to Aaron Hall and company as they come up to lap him? And he's closing in at a huge rate of speed. With 12 laps to go, Hall is about to work his way past DeLello, and it looks like he will. My question is, what will DeLello do in holding up Caggiano and the rest of them? Because he is going nowhere near as fast as the leaders are. And is he going to get out of the way? Oh, he's just going to hold up the 81 just a little bit, and that could be enough for Aaron Hall.
Oh, shoot.
As Caggiano gets held up behind the 03, that's not going to help his bid for this race victory, and now he's got the 3 all over his back bumper, and you can see the gap extend to a full second now. So just as he gained with the lap car of Stevenson, he lost it all and more with the lap car of DeLello getting in the way. So these cars are by no means easy to pass, but Aaron Hall is sure making it easy. He's dominated the day, and he's 11 laps away from his first victory in as many races.
That was a sweet piece of driving from Aaron Hall. He sent it into that corner knowing that he would lose a little bit of time coming out of the exit, but he knew that he had to get past that lap car before they went through the corner, because that's where you're going to lose your time to the lappers. So that was a nice move from the 7 car, a veteran move from the 7 car, despite being a rookie, and that really has helped his chances of winning this race.
And now Caggiano starting to close the gap back in a bit. It's down to a full second. But he's got the 3 and the 92 working together to get underneath him, and it looks like they're going to. This intramural battling between these 3 is going to allow Hall to pull away even more. So, it's now a second and a quarter, the gap between Hall and Caggiano, with 9 laps to go. I just don't see how they're going to be able to work. They need to work together, not against each other, to try and catch Aaron Hall, but they're not doing that. But I can understand why. The 3 and the 92, they know the difference between second and third is a whole 5 points, and that can make a big difference going forward. Because second's 45 points, third is only 40. So you really want to make this pass if you can. But still, it's got to be frustrating for these guys watching Aaron Hall drive away from them.
Yeah, Alex is putting a lot of pressure on that 81 car right now. I'm almost curious about what would happen if the 3 car was able to pass the 81, just because I'm wondering if that car right now is faster. But you know, if you're gonna battle, it's not gonna get anybody anywhere. The maximum position that those drivers, while they're battling, can get is second place, and that's just how it is. If they were able to start to work together and maybe kind of push each other, they might have a shot at catching up, but they would have to work together for that, and I'm not sure it's going to happen.
We have 7 laps to go in this race, and Aaron Hall has a 1.4 second lead now over the 3 car, who's now taken second place away from Ryan Caggiano. So you said you wanted to see what would happen. Now they've swapped positions. Let's see what the 3 car can do.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he can gain a second and a half in 6 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be. We're just going to have to see how fast that car is able to go. Obviously, there's no more pressure on his bumper. Caggiano has really fallen off the pace here, in fact. And Sam Donotto is feeling like he wants to party up here with the top 5. So that's going to be interesting, too. I'm wondering if maybe there's something wrong with that 81 car. I'm not sure. Maybe just was pushing too hard, used up the tires, and now just hanging on. But
yeah,
you know,
he's fallen back to 4th now. And he's probably going to lose that spot as well to Sam Donotto, who's charging at the end of this thing. With Jared Jackson now running in 6th. Brett Bishop, the pole sitter, has fallen back to 7th. Elijah Ironhouse in 8th. Keith Hughes in 9th. And how about Matthew Polanski making his way up into the top 10?
Boy, oh boy.
What a good effort.
That team is on fire.
From the Kings Motorsports group. So the lap traffic now is just crossing the start-finish line, and Hall is about to enter turn 3. So I don't think he's going to catch any more lap traffic from here to the end. I'm not sure if that's good or bad news for this 3 car to try and catch up, or to try and hope that Hall gets stalled up behind them. Either way, we now are down to the final 4 laps of this race, and Aaron Hall is pulling away in a very big way. He just needs to hang on for dear life and survive these final 5 miles, and victory will be his in just his series debut.
And boy, what a story this would be. I mean, the car gets vacated, Aaron Hall gets his big break, and comes out here and just puts on a clinic. Absolutely leading and dominating this race ever since that restart. And not to mention, on the first lap, he came from 5th to 2nd place to try to chase down Brett Bishop. Never got the chance to chase down Brett Bishop because the caution came out, but eventually took the lead and has owned everybody so far.
And the lead has grown to now about 2 seconds now, as the 3 car has fallen even further behind. We're coming to 2 laps to go this time by. And I just don't see how this 3 is going to catch up. He may very well take the points lead after today, considering how his fellow points challengers have fared less than spectacularly here at Gateway. He may take the points lead, but his victory will have to wait for another day to get to 2 career wins, as Aaron Hall is looking to get his first 2 laps to go.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the 3 car. I think it's about time to hold on, make sure you don't lose the spot to the 92 from behind. Caggiano is actually, it's surprising to us, has stayed ahead of Donotto back there. That's interesting. I guess that maybe he heated his stuff up battling with the 3 car, who was faster for a bit there. But here we are coming onto the final lap for Aaron Hall.
White flag in the air for car number 7. Aaron Hall makes his way into turn 1 for the final time. And he's got 1.7 seconds in the bank to work with. He can afford to lose a second a lap. He doesn't need to worry about this. His big break came when Patrick Smith went to the Superstar Series, and when he was tapped by Kevin Carter to fill the 7th seat. He knew he had big shoes to fill. The shoe fit like a glass slipper on Cinderella. It's fit perfectly for Aaron Hall as he comes off of turn 4 for the final time. And Aaron Hall, in his series debut, will win at Gateway Motorsports Park in the Nitro National Series for Carter Racing Systems. What a job by Aaron Hall to take his first career win in a dominating fashion here at Gateway.
Absolutely, that was a fantastic performance from that 7 car. It is really going to be interesting to see the rest of the season with Aaron Hall in that race car, because so far, average finish of 1. That is absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna see how it works out. But all these other drivers put on a great show today.
Yeah.
It was shorter than normal, but we had a lot of comers and goers, and that was just overall a great race.
The top 5 stayed the same. Jared Jackson holds on for 6th, Ironhouse in 7th, Brett Bishop faded to 8th. Matthew Polanski in his series debut comes home 9th from 26th on the grid. That's a good run for him. And Keith Hughes gets his first career top 10 as well, rounding out the top 10 in the 10th position. This was a very interesting race. We had a lot of comers and goers, as you said. We had Aaron Hall completely dominate the proceedings here, but I'm looking forward to next time out at Sonoma, because we're going to see a lot of different drivers up front there. We got some road ringers like Mark Davey going to be in the field. We got some and Matthew Polanski as well. He's known for his road course talent. We should expect to see the Polanskis back up in fighting form at Sonoma. It's going to be interesting to see that as well, as we head next week to Sonoma for a standalone race for the Nitro National Series, race number 5 of their campaign. So from Duke and second, for myself as well, we say goodbye from Gateway Motorsports Park after a brief but intense battle for the lead. In the final few laps, Aaron Hall is your race winner. Congratulations to him, his first career victory.